Welcome to Tuesdays at 2. I'm your host, RJ. In this show, we take a new ingredient every week. It's going to be an ingredient you can find at your local supermarket, and we're going to teach you how to make a wonderful recipe with it. So stick around and check out the recipe.
What I want to do is to just get that good and brown. In the meantime, I'm going to cut up, looking at the wrong recipe. Make sure I'm looking at the right thing. Yep, 1 green bell pepper, 2 jalapeno peppers. So we're just going to dice. I'm going to get this bowl out of the way so you guys can see what's going on here. So I'm just going to clean these up. That is way hot. That's cool. There we go. All right. And I'm going to turn on this. We're going to make this chili in this pan. You can do it all at one time. I like to make the meat, or I like to brown the meat outside of the pan we're cooking everything else in, because we're already going to be putting some fat in there, so we don't need the extra fat from the meat. If you were doing a chili where you weren't going to put extra oil in, or you weren't going to put extra butter in, by all means, if you're using, if you're using the turkey or with any other meat, by all means use that fat. That'll be good for you. We don't need it in this one. In this case, how I am using the 80-20 turkey mixture as opposed to the lean breast meat. You can go either way with this. This mixture is going to be a little bit moister because it's got more fat in it. Also, it is cheaper, and my boss likes when I spend less money on groceries. And honestly, I think it tastes a little better. It holds the flavor content, it holds the seasoning and everything a little bit better than the lean stuff does. All right, so I'm just doing a quick dice on this pepper. This is not a chili like a beef chili that you are going to want to stew for hours and hours and hours. In fact, it's almost a cheater chili. I'm using canned everything. However, the seasoning is all going to be on point. Everything is going to taste amazing. All right, so I'm going to put just a touch of oil in here. Guys, when you're using oil, make sure you know your smoke points. Make sure that you're not raising the oil up above the smoke point. A couple of reasons. One, it can make your oil taste burnt, and it'll add that burnt flavor to your whatever you're cooking. But two, and more importantly, is not too far above the smoke point is the flash point, and that's where it catches itself on fire. That's why I always tell people don't fry in the house unless you have one of those covered fryers and know exactly what you're doing. Be extremely, extremely careful if you decide you're going to ever fry in the house. Next up, 2 jalapeno peppers. Again, just a real rough chop on these. Should have done a little bit different. Because these are going to be in there long enough to simmer down. You're not going to have big chunks of jalapeno in your mouth, so you don't have to worry about that. If you don't like jalapeno flavor or you're afraid of the heat, by all means skip this. This is not enough to make this so hot that you can't eat it. I left the seeds and ribs in that. Again, if you like a little heat, you love the flavor, but you don't want a lot of heat, take the ribs and seeds out. It's a good way to get the pepper flavor and not have the heat.
But wait, before we continue, do me a favor. Click that like button, subscribe to us if you haven't already, make sure you've hit the bell so you get our notifications, and comment down below. I know you don't like everything I do, so let me hear it. Now, back to the recipe.
Guys, we're going to do 2 cloves of garlic again, roughly chopped on this. All right, so what I'm using here is I've got our Swiss Diamond HD 9.5 inch, which is the 5.5 quart stock pot or soup pot, I believe is how we have it labeled. The reason why I like nonstick cookware when I'm going in, especially going and doing a soup or a chili or something that's going to simmer for a long time, especially something with like we're putting a tomato in there, right? So you have all the red and all the sugar. What you're going to find is if you use a stainless steel pan, or if you use an old nonstick that's not really nonstick anymore, around the edge, right around the edge where the stuff was cooking, you find that it kind of sticks and it creates a crust. It's really hard to get off just right there. Nothing really cooking in there and burning or whatever. But right around the top, you get that crust. And I know you all have seen it. You have to use your soak line, bring your soak line up above that, and let it sit with the water, hot water with soap and all that. Sometimes for a day to be able to break that down and be able to clean it. the non-stick coating on the Swiss Diamond, our HD Diamond, or Diamond encoded HD coating, good lord, is not going to let that happen. Go back and watch some of the videos I've done on the HD cookware itself, or come back on Friday. I'm going to be doing another one. It's going to show you how the coating works and how it breaks down, or not breaks down, but how the coating works and how it works to make everything not stick and how things don't stick to it. And even when you get something a little bit stuck, let's say you let that sugar dry, right, and it feels like it's on there, I'll show you how you can go in with just a wet cloth and a warm wet cloth and wipe it off. Okay guys, so I've got everything in here kind of simmering. Like I showed you, I put a little oil in that. What we want to do is we want to cook that to where everything starts to soften, okay? What we got next? Yep, okay. So once this browns, which I think we're there, we're just going to you want to drain off any fat that's in there. So I'm just going to dump us in like this. So turkey doesn't have a ton of fat, but it still has some. You just don't want to bring in all that liquid fat. And if you decide that instead of turkey you want to do this with beef, especially if you end up using something like 70-30 or 80-20 beef, you're going to get a lot more grease in the pan. I'm sure you can see it there, but you have a lot more. You know, when you do beef or bacon or something like that, there's a ton of grease in the pan. You don't need it for this recipe. In fact, keeping it out of there is going to help it because what you're going to find is this tomato can, which I didn't bring a can opener for, and this pumpkin both are going to try to separate the grease from the water because, again, there's water in there and oil and water doesn't mix, right? So fat and water doesn't mix. So it's going to have a film on top of it. And it looks kind of peeling, and it does give you a filminess on your mouth over time. All right, guys. So we've got those two things in there. What we're going to do next is we're going to add the tomatoes. Hey team, can you run and get a cup of water and the can opener? Thank you guys. All right, so we're gonna put in a can of pumpkin, one whole can of pureed pumpkin. Get in the store, the stuff you make for pumpkin pies and all that. You can get that, put that in there. Okay, stir it in there really well. So the pumpkin is going to give it a roasted, a touch of a sweet flavor. Notice we're not going to put any sugar in this chili. I know that in most chilies you're going to want to put sugar in it, especially to offset the tomatoes. You definitely don't need to do that with this one. Perfect. Thank you. Thank you. All right, we're also going to put in 1 cup of water. And we're going to put in 1 can of diced tomatoes. Don't drain these. We want the liquid for this one. And then we'll put in our spices. And I made these spices earlier out of our spice cabinet. But in here I've got a tablespoon of chili powder and a teaspoon of cumin. And then we'll put salt and pepper in. There's chili powder and cumin. And salt and pepper. And we're going to stir that up. And we're going to bring it up to a boil. And that's going to take, we're going to bring it up to a boil, then knock it back down to a simmer, and let it go for probably about 25 minutes. So we'll check in on that at the end. That's really all you need to do there. I have a lid. It's not the right size, but it's going to work just to keep the heat in there. Don't worry about it, guys. This lid's fine for this one. All right, so next up, this one is a fun one. Excuse me. Trying to keep everything together. So, like I told you, we're going to make a barbecue pork with blistered chilies, with a blistered chili salsa. So what we're going to do is we're going to take 2 jalapenos. We're going to throw them right in the pan. We're going to take a white onion. So I turned that pan on high. What we're trying to do is we're trying to blister them. If you guys have a gas stove gas stove, or if you have a flamethrower, or if you have a lighter and a hand that doesn't get hot. The fire actually helps with these. They'll do a little bit better, but you can definitely dry roast them. You can put them in the oven. For real, you can put them in the oven and put them under the broiler. Keep an eye on it. Broilers get really hot, so they char stuff really quickly, which is great for something like this, but you want to be careful with it. We're not going to where we're going to blacken it all the way. I just want to char these peppers. I want to get some of that smokiness in there. I want to get some of that carbonization on the pepper itself. I don't want to blacken them all the way like we would do a roasted pepper where we have to peel the skin off. That's not what we're going for here. So we're going to let those cook for about 4 minutes or so. In the meantime, I'm going to take a half onion and I'm going to chop it very, very smaller. So as thin as you can get this onion chopped, that's where you want to go. Because again, we are making a quick salsa out of this. And we'll just take that whole outside layer off. It's got a couple bad spots. There we go. We just want to go real small with this one, if you can. Careful with the knife. Again, like I've said before, said 100 times, a sharp knife is what you guys want. I know it's scary to have one that's super sharp. It's, but what happens is a sharp knife cuts cleaner, so you don't have that mistake where you're on that side of the onion or the pepper and it slides one way or the other and comes in your hand. Use a sharp knife. And if you happen to cut yourself, that clean cut is much better for you. You're going to be able to patch it up and be able to seal it better, right? It'll heal better, be less of a chance of a scar. So keep your knife sharp. Get yourself a new one if you only have really, really, really dull ones and don't have somebody to sharpen them for you. Okay, so what do we got going on next? Okay, so we are going to take pumpkin seeds, about a 1/4 cup. If you can get them unroasted, they're better than the roasted ones. Or no, I'm sorry, if you can get them unsalted, they're better than the salted ones. That's where I was trying to go. I could not find those at my local store, so the salted ones are going to be fine. We'll add a little bit less salt to this dish, and that'll make up for it. Okay, then we are going to get a 1/4 cup of chopped cilantro. Again, chop that cilantro pretty fine. Come back over it a couple of times here. The last thing you want is the sticks in here. So if you see a stick or a stem or the stems or whatever we call it, go ahead and pull those out. Now chop this up real fine. Guys, if you aren't a cilantro fan, by all means skip this point. Or skip this part. The cilantro, I believe, makes the dish. I know some people hate it, so if you don't like cilantro, skip it. Go in with Italian flat leaf parsley. I think you're going to really be impressed on the flavor that brings out while not bringing what some people call a soap flavor. I don't get it, but it's definitely there. Okay, so mix up. We're going to salt. We're going to pepper. We're going to 3 tablespoons, of lime juice. All right, there we go. 3 tablespoons lime juice. 1/4 cup of olive oil. Which one's my olive oil? Here we go. We're gonna whisk that really good. And this is going to be the chili, or I'm sorry, the salsa that we're gonna end up on top of our chili pork chops. I'm using, usually what I like to do with this recipe is take a Boston butt and cut it up thin, roll it and put it on skewers and serve it over skewers. I don't have a way to do that. 2 things, I don't have any skewers. 2, more importantly, my store didn't have any Boston butt that wasn't the full 4-pounder, and I didn't have enough people here today to do a full 4-pounder for. So we're gonna take these 3. I'm just gonna set them aside for a second. Actually, while we're waiting for those things to finish. So in here I have 2 tablespoons of light brown sugar, 2 tablespoons of mustard powder, 2 tablespoons paprika, 2 tablespoons garlic powder, a teaspoon of black pepper, actually, a teaspoon of black pepper, because I don't think I did that last night, and a 1/4 teaspoon of cayenne pepper. Okay, so what we're going to do is you want to be able to put these on a couple of times. So start this as you're doing your peppers. So put it on quite liberally. And we'll flip it, do the same thing. And what we'll do is we'll wait for, as we finish this, and then we'll do it one more time to be able to make sure all of that seasoning sets in there. Guys, you notice, I don't know if you did, but I made this cutting board in front of your eyes, a meat cutting board and meat tongs. Make sure you guys are keeping that kind of stuff separate. If you are dealing with raw meat, I know that I deal with raw meat and vegetables and everything all the time, kind of the same, but make sure you're keeping everything separate. We don't want to cross-contaminate any food. We don't want anybody to get any foodborne allergies. Sicknesses. It's unfortunately something that is pretty serious. And this time around Thanksgiving, be careful what you're eating. Make sure you know where everything's been cooked, and make sure you know everything's been done well. If you guys are doing that turkey, make sure you're getting that center up to 165. If you guys are doing something else, make sure you're cooking that thing all the way. Really important this time of year when a lot of people are just trying to rush to get things on the table. Guys, I am going to remove this lid, mostly because I'm dropping a lot of water, and that is an electric stove, which worries me. We've already cut out on you once or twice. If you go back in the archives, you'll see that our system doesn't hold very well, and sometimes we cut out on you. But, follow me. Why didn't start there? I should have started there. Guys, click the link below. There is a follow me link, or follow us, or follow something. Click that follow button. That's going to help us know that you guys are watching. It's going to help us know what you guys want from us in the future. Excuse me. And it's going to help my boss know that this is something that is good for us to continue to do. Turn that down. The other thing I'd love for you guys to do is comment down below as well. Let me know what you guys like, what you guys don't like about what we've either been doing, what we've done in the past, what you want us to see in the future. We just want to make sure we're doing what you guys like. We're here for you. If you guys don't love this, I have other stuff I could do, I guess. I really like being here every day, though. So anyway, let's what we're doing here with this is we just took those off. Again, we don't need to peel them because we're just roasting them. I'm doing a very fine dice. With these guys, I'm going to do one all the way up to the stem, and then the other one I'm just going to go up to where the seeds start. Don't want to make this too hot. And since this is the salsa, this part doesn't cook down with all the sugars. It could get hotter, or it will stay hotter, I guess. The pepper will stay hotter than those will. Perfect. All right, so this is our roasted or blistered peppers that are going into our salsa. And again, we're just going to whisk this. Probably going to need a little bit more salt. I'll taste it in a minute. We're going to let those flavors combine. All right, guys, I think I talked about it. This is our grill pan. This pan is fantastic for inside. It's getting cold all over the country. We're in Charlotte, North Carolina, where it's not usually cold, and it has been cold here for the past week. Don't go look at future weather. It's really nice here in the next couple of weeks, but it has been cold. So when it's too cold to grill outside, or in summertime when it's too hot or it's too rainy, or you just don't feel like going outside, or you don't have a grill, or you don't have an outside, these pans work great to bring. Whoa, hello. Yeah, all right. These pans work great to bring a grilled flavor right into your kitchen. And since it has our HD nonstick coating on it, you don't have to worry about burning stuff on there. You don't have to worry about any of the fat sticking to the pan and it being a pain to clean. Excuse me. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to brush these one more time, or dust these one more time with our sugar mixture. I've turned this pan down over here. I've turned the grill pan down to a medium. Probably what I'm going to do right before I put it on, I'm going to turn it up to high just so it starts to sear, and then I'm going to turn it back to medium. These pork chops are a little thick. Most pork you want to cook all the way through to 165, so you don't want the outside to burn on you. There's sugar in this, meaning it is going to char. It's supposed to char. It's supposed to caramelize, but it also will burn if you don't pay attention. So we don't want to let it go too long or too hot. Okay. So we're going to turn this up. Oh, we need some oil. So we don't need to oil the pan. There's no reason to oil the pan. Nothing's going to stick to it. I'm going to put a little oil right on here. That's going to help two things. It's going to help the seasoning stick to the pork chop. It's also, ooh, that was a lot of oil. Science experiment. It's going to help the seasoning stick to the pork chop. It's also going to help the grill marks kind of form on there. Yeah, all right, that's perfect. Like we want them. Take a little dust, put it in there. That's the good stuff. All right. We're gonna be quick today. We're getting out of here. All right, so this has been cooking for about 10 minutes, maybe 15. We're gonna take our rinsed kidney beans. You can use light or dark. I use the light ones in this because it's not a meat red chili, right? So we're keeping the colors a little bit more brown. You know, Thanksgiving brown instead of red. If you like the dark ones better, by all means, go for it. There's not really a difference there. Okay, so we're gonna move this, and this to the side. Use that to taste. Move this to clean. That wasn't long. Perfect. Perfect. All right, so what do we got going on? So this is going to need, let me just make sure I've got everything in here. I think I do. Yep, a little salt, a little pepper. Guys, can't keep coming in here. It throws me off. One of you guys out there making everybody laugh. I don't know who it is, but my entire crew is going crazy. Maybe it's me, but nobody said anything to me yet. All right, let me just taste this, see where we're at. Yep, that's ready. Needs a little bit more salt, actually. So just put a little bit more salt on it. Turn that off. Somewhere. There we go. Okay. So this first one we're going to go ahead and plate up. So for this chili, it really is that simple. Now, guys, the good thing about this is it is good right now. It is going to be better tomorrow as all those flavors kind of meld together. Just like a true chili. Make it today, eat it on Sunday. That's kind of how it works, as long as today isn't Sunday. With these, I am going to use cilantro. Usually I would use flat leaf parsley, but we have the cilantro, and it's fresh-ish. I'll pull a couple in here. Boom. Boom. Just like that. Boom. So those are your chilies. And then let me get this other one plated for you because we are ready here too. Perfect. All right, with these, just gonna take a couple pork chops. Plate them up. Get a spoon. Guys, when you do an oil-based salsa, always give it one final whisk just to make sure everything's good and emulsified. It really doesn't take any time or effort just to give it one more final whisk, a little bit more salt, and it'll be good to go. I'm going to give it the old salsa treatment. All right, boom, there's that. All right, guys, looking, is that a thing? Listen. There is your barbecued pork with blistered chili and pumpkin seed. There we go. 2 pumpkin dishes that were not Thanksgiving themed. I hope you guys enjoyed.
Thanks for joining us. We had a lot of fun. Do me a favor, click that like button, click the subscribe button. If you haven't hit the bell, make sure you hit that. Comment down below. Stay tuned. Next week, we're going to bring you another great recipe.